Episode 89, Change of Play. I have my own rules. Upon hearing these words, Shi Xiao and Jiong completely understood that these foreigners saw them as some form of amusement, like a game of cat and mouse. What if we identify them? Shi Xiao asked again. Identify them? The bald strong man was stunned, evidently not having thought about this question. Oh, if you identify them, we'll let you live a bit longer, and then you can continue identifying. I believe there will always be guns you can't recognize. Ha ha ha. The bald strong man looked very pleased with himself. At this moment, Shi Xiao and Jiong forcibly suppressed their anger. By not cooperating, they might die, but no matter what, they had to buy time. However, when Jiong and Shi Xiao opened the boxes, they were completely dumbfounded. They couldn't name any of the firearms in the boxes, or rather, they had never seen them before. Shi Xiao was a bit at a loss. What's wrong? Can't recognize them. Ha ha ha, since that's the case, we need to follow the rules of the game. We can only kill one person first. The bald strong man raised his arm, and the dark barrel of the gun fell on Jiong, then shifted to Shi Xiao, and repeated this process. However, at this moment, a very abrupt voice rang out in the armory. I'll do it. Ningxi stepped forward to the side of the boxes. Seeing Ningxi, the foreigners were all stunned. They had not noticed Ningxi's presence at all before. No one knew how she suddenly appeared here. Not only the foreigners but even Jiong and Shi Xiao were stupefied in place. When did this woman follow them in? You. After Shi Xiao came to his senses, he looked Ningxi up and down, unable to suppress his anger, and shouted sharply, "Who allowed you to come?" Regardless of how loud Shi Xiao's voice was, Ningxi simply ignored him, focusing her gaze on those firearms. Jiong, what's going on with this woman? At this time, you actually brought such an actress here. Are you out of your mind? Shi Xiao practically shouted. Jiong was also a bit dazed. He had no idea that Ningxi was here. Does she think it's a play? Damn it. Tell me, does she think it's a play? Shi Xiao's face turned dark as water, and he shouted angrily. I don't know. She secretly followed us. Jiong could only explain. Bastard. Shi Xiao cursed loudly, then looked fiercely at Ningxi. You, an actress, what do you understand? Get out of here. Do you want to die? Suddenly, Ningxi turned around, and her icy gaze fell on Shi Xiao. Ha ha ha, internal strife, wonderful, I like it, continue. The bald strong man was excited. Poor things, fear has robbed them of their reason. The foreign woman spoke coldly. She doesn't count, I'll do the identification. At this point, Shi Xiao could only grit his teeth and persevere. How could he entrust the life and death of several people to this brain-dead actress? She might really think it's a play. The bald strong man shook his head immediately. No. Since she wants to identify, it has to be her. Changing to someone else is considered forfeiting, and I still need to kill someone. Hearing this, Shi Xiao's face turned ashen, looking at Ningxi, his eyes becoming even more fierce. He wished he could tear this idiot to pieces to ease the hatred in his heart. He couldn't understand at all. Why would someone as wise and commanding as their boss, Lu Tingxiao, value such a brain-dead actress? Hearing this, Ningxi, without paying any attention to Shi Xiao, casually took out a not very delicate pistol from the box. Glock 17 pistol from Austria, used by the Austrian military. The length is 185 millimeters, weighing about 0.6 kilograms. The barrel length, if I remember correctly, should be 114 millimeters, and the magazine capacity is 17 rounds, with a range of 72 meters. Not only Shi Xiao but also the man brought by Shi Xiao and Jiong had faces full of despair. To put it nicely, she was an actress, but to speak bluntly, she was just a third-rate actress. How could she understand these things? What kind of international joke was this? Where did this damn actress come from? Do you want to harm us? You're an actress, right? Instead of accompanying directors and producers to engage in some shady business, you come here talking nonsense. Do you think this is a play? The man brought by Shi Xiao was uncontrollably angry, and he already had the intention to kill Ningxi. However, Ningxi seemed as if she hadn't heard anything, playing with the pistol and casually saying, "It's embarrassing to bring out this kind of pistol. Nowadays, most of the FBI in the United States use it." After speaking, Ningxi tossed the Austrian Glock 17 pistol aside without much interest. Their knowledge of small pistols was not extensive. If it were a more powerful penetrating weapon, Shi Xiao and Jiong would have treated them like treasures. Although Ningxi spoke confidently, Xiao could not believe her at all. In his eyes, Ningxi was just an actress, an irrelevant performer. How could she understand firearms? How about it, did I get it right? Just as Xiao and the others were uneasy, Ningxi looked at the bald strong man in the distance and said calmly. At this moment, the corners of the bald strong man's mouth twitched slightly. What the woman said was exactly right. She even detailed the characteristics and pros and cons of the Austrian Glock 17 pistol. It seemed like she had dealt with similar types of firearms before. Ha ha ha, still a clever woman. Good, you can continue to identify. Our game has just begun. The bald strong man laughed loudly. Hearing this, Xiongji and Xiao were slightly stunned. They were even a bit unclear about the situation. According to the meaning of the foreign mafia, did the actress just now really get it right? Damn it. It was really close. The man brought by Xiao was sweating profusely. Suddenly, as if he remembered something, he suddenly realized, right, since she's an actress, maybe she has played in gunfight scenes before and happened to have dealt with that Austrian pistol model. Xiao and Xiongji pondered over the man's words. It made some sense. After all, Ningxi was an actress, and she might have come into contact with some firearms during gunfight scenes in the past. Perhaps, by coincidence, she had encountered the Austrian Glock 17 pistol model and gained some knowledge of such firearms due to the plot requirements. That was really close. Xiongji took a deep breath. If Ningxi had misspoken by a single word just now, the consequences would have been unimaginable. We demand to change the person. Xiao suddenly said. Ningxi's identification of the Austrian Glock pistol this time was undoubtedly a matter of luck. If they continued to play, they might all end up here. Yes, change the person. We must change the person. The man brought by Xiao also echoed repeatedly. Letting a third-rate actress identify it was equivalent to making a mistake. Their fate should be determined by themselves, and there was no need to entrust their lives to an actress. No, if you change the person, it's considered forfeiting. Are you really sure? If so, I'll start killing pigs. The bald strong man raised his arm, a mocking expression on his face. This was a game of cat and mouse. When he got tired of playing, everyone would die under the barrel of his gun. In this game, he was the master, and everything went as he said. The man brought by Xiao glared angrily at Ningxi and said maliciously, if we can leave alive this time, I will definitely skin you alive when we get out. Ha ha ha, I love watching you fools quarrel, but whether you can leave alive or not, you idiots don't get to decide. Alright, if you don't want to die, continue identifying for me now. The bald strong man sneered. Xiao and Xiongji clenched their fists, but in the current situation, they were helpless. They could only pray that reinforcements would arrive soon. If their leader, Lu Tingxiao, was unaware of all this, they would surely all die here. Ningxi remained indifferent, seemingly unaffected by Xiao and the others or the bald strong man. Her gaze swept over the box, and she casually picked up another firearm. Even for this ancient firearm, you guys have wasted quite a bit of effort for this game, Ningxi said casually. The bald strong man did not speak, his face wearing an inexplicable smile, and his golden eyes were fixed on Ningxi. You probably won't recognize this pistol either, Alice, the foreign woman, said in front of the bald strong man. Ningxi suddenly raised her head, and her eyes stared directly at the foreign woman Alice. I indeed don't recognize this pistol. Hearing this, Xiao and Xiongji's hearts sank instantly, although they had already expected this result. You bastard, I'll kill you. The man brought by Xiao completely collapsed mentally, almost losing his sanity. He believed that he would be killed by the actress in front of him. All the blame stemmed from this actress. Bang! Just as the man brought by Xiao rushed towards Ningxi, the dark barrel of the bald strong man suddenly emitted a dazzling flame. Immediately, a bullet penetrated the ground in front of the man, and stones splashed. The gunshot sounded like thunder, shaking everyone's souls. Your life and death are not up to you to decide. Whoever I want to die first will die first. Do you want to break my rules, fools? The bald strong man had an evil smile on his face, staring at the man brought by Xiao. At this moment, the man, under the gunfire, finally regained his sanity. Cold sweat soaked his whole body, and he immediately shook his head, retreating towards the back, not daring to say another word. Ha ha ha, I love obedient fools the most. Seeing the man's expression, the bald strong man nodded in satisfaction and then looked at Ningxi. Since you can't recognize it, we can only proceed according to the rules of the game. Ha ha ha. However, Ningxi shook her head and said, no need to hurry to conclude. Huh? The bald strong man was somewhat puzzled. Although I haven't come into contact with this type of firearm, the caliber and feel of this pistol, combined with its unique appearance, are not too difficult to guess, Ningxi said casually. Guess? At this moment, not only Shao and Xiongji but also the foreign people were all stunned. This woman actually wanted to guess? Wasn't she afraid of death? Ningxi looked at the compact pistol, weighed it in her hand, and calmly said, around 1 kilogram, length should be around 180 millimeters, and the carbon steel impact sleeve has undergone special modifications, using special metal processing. Caliber is below 0.46 inches, approximately 12 millimeters. A special caliber that only uses 0.45-inch Smith & Wesson bullets. This type of pistol can only hold 12 rounds in the magazine, belonging to the early first-generation design. Although I haven't come into contact with it, it's easy to guess for such an antique. I can be sure it's the German P229, acquired by SIG in Germany in 1991, full name, German P229 pistol. Ningxi said calmly. After finishing, she threw the firearm aside. At this point, Shao and Xiongji had completely lost hope. They could only resign themselves to fate and pray that Ningxi had encountered similar firearms during her acting career, just like her good luck before. How is it? Did I guess right or wrong? Ningxi looked at the silent bald strong man, expressionless. After a long time, the bald strong man coldly said, I just heard them say that you are an actress. Correct. Ningxi did not deny it. Regardless of the past, she was currently an actress, working hard and striving towards her goals with her talent. That makes sense. Being an actress, you must have acted in many gunfights, so recognizing these firearms is nothing. The bald strong man nonchalantly reasoned. Actresses are useless, just selling their bodies and engaging in disgusting transactions. Killing disgusting pigs like you with one's hands is the most enjoyable. The foreign woman Alice glanced at Ningxi with disdain, her eyes sharp with instinctive aversion towards actresses. Hee, my dear Alice, it seems that I'm tired of this game. How about we change the rules? What do you think would be a more interesting way to identify guns? The bald strong man looked at Alice, sending a very ambiguous look. Don't you like watching them fight each other? Let them kill each other. This way, it's more flavorful and entertaining. Alice thought for a moment and suggested. You've reminded me. The bald strong man stood up, smiling broadly and staring at the man brought by Shao. Stupid pig, didn't you want to kill that woman just now? Now's your chance. Go strangle her. I'm considering giving you a chance to live. How about it? Opportunities like this are precious. Hearing this, the man brought by Shao, wearing a white shirt, suddenly became excited. Are you telling the truth? If it's true. Before the man in the white shirt could finish his sentence, the bald strong man interrupted, of course. Buddy, you need to know that I'm someone who values the rules of the game. As long as you follow my rules, there's a chance to live. Alright. It's a deal. The man in the white shirt's eyes flashed with a hint of ferocity. As long as he could survive, anything could be agreed upon. Killing an actress was no different from squashing a cockroach. You dare! Suddenly, Xiongji roared angrily, like an enraged beast. Regardless, Lu Tingxiao had given him orders to protect the female actress. Stupid pig, don't act recklessly. Behave and watch the show. Otherwise, I'll blow your brains out. A certain foreign man pointed his gun at Xiongji. Xiongji had a hunch that if he made any move, the next second, a bullet would pierce through his forehead. Xiongji clenched his fists, his veins bulging. The boss had given him an order. If he couldn't fulfill it, how could he face boss Lu Tingxiao in the future? Behave and don't act recklessly. Now, it's not your turn to die yet. However, if you don't behave or cooperate, then everything is uncertain. You foolish pigs, we have plenty of time. The game has just begun. Ha ha ha. The bald strong man looked at them with an expression that showed he had everything under control. Shao, these are the people you brought. The boss said to protect Miss Ning's safety. If you don't act, you can't allow your subordinates to act recklessly. Xiongji ignored the bald strong man and shouted at Shao. Shao frowned. While he didn't like that foolish woman, he didn't want her dead either. No interfering. Shao looked at the man in the white shirt and ordered. Damn it. The man in the white shirt glared fiercely and spat on the ground. Stop bothering me. Shao, you brought us to this arms depot, saying the boss was here. Take a look for yourself. What's here? It's an ambush. We're all going to die. Just for a lousy actress. If she dies, it could save my life. It's her honor. At this point, not only would the man in the white shirt go to kill Ningxi, but if it meant surviving, he wouldn't hesitate to kill Xiongji or even Xiao. Don't be in a hurry. You have your rules, and I have mine. Ningxi raised the corner of her mouth, revealing a mysterious smile. She took out another pistol from the box. Foolish pigs, you're seeking death. The rules of the game have changed. Now, you're not allowed to touch any firearms. Put them down. The foreign woman Alice stood up instantly upon seeing this. My dear Alice, those guns have no bullets. The magazines are all empty. Don't worry. The bald strong man laughed heartily, everything was under his control. Since the bald man didn't care, Alice shrugged and sat back in her original place. Do you know that this is the Italian Beretta 92F pistol used by the US military? Ningxi opened the empty magazine and said softly. Yes, it is indeed the Beretta. But what does it matter? The game has ended, so whether you can recognize it or not, the result is the same. You'll be killed by your own people. Ha ha ha, just think about it. I find it exciting to see you foolish pigs killing each other, blood splattering everywhere. How beautiful that would be. The bald man's expression approached madness. Ningxi shook her head. The biggest feature of this pistol is that it can use the ammunition of most small pistols. Before Ningxi could finish her sentence, the man in the white shirt rushed towards her like a gust of wind. You smelly brat, go to hell. The man in the white shirt roared madly. Are interchangeable. At this moment, Ningxi murmured to herself. Simultaneously, in an instant, her entire body seemed to bounce, and in the astonished and incredulous gazes of everyone, she fiercely kneed the man in the white shirt in the abdomen. Wow! The man in the white shirt's facial muscles spasmed, and his mouth kept twitching. He spat out a viscous fluid, violently thrown backward as Ningxi's knee struck his abdomen. However, as the man in the white shirt retreated, Ningxi, with an icy expression, seized his right shoulder like a gust of wind. Boom! The man in the white shirt didn't even understand what had happened. He was violently thrown to the ground by Ningxi. At the same time, Ningxi's hand produced several bullets at lightning speed, seamlessly loading them into the magazine she held in her hand.